Hello, hello, and welcome to the Charlotte Mason Enrichment Podcast. We come to you every single week to encourage you, to equip you, and to enrich your lives as a Charlotte Mason educator. My name is Elise Thompson, and I'm the host of this show. And I just want to welcome you to this episode. This is part 2 of a conversation that I was having with a sweet friend, Mary Salas, over at Our Kin and Home. We are talking about how to have the pace of grace as a home educator and a homemaker. So if you missed part 1, you definitely got to go back and listen to it, girl. You will be missing out if you do not hear part 1. So go listen to it and then jump into this episode. So here we are, part 2 of my conversation with Mary. I love that. So tell us a little bit about kind of the work that you're doing online. I definitely see it as like a calling and a gift that you have, but tell me just kind of like how you started. Right now you're online as Our Kin and Home. And so I know you're going to be rebranding soon, but tell us a little bit about that work.
Yeah. So really it stems way back when I mean 13 years ago, I think. I was working at the church that we were at. It was like a big mega church. And this is where my husband and I met, and we did ministry, worked in like the youth ministry. We helped with children's, young adults, like across the board. We were very involved there. And I also worked in our church nursery, which had like paid staff to help with the babies for different programs throughout the week. And I was driving my sister's old minivan that was truly falling apart. Like 20 minutes back to my parents' house. It was dark. It was late. And I just like had this like heart racing moment where I was like, undoubtedly, like, this is the Lord. Like, put a thought in my head. And he literally said, like, one day you're going to talk to thousands of women and you're going to give, it brings me to tears every time because it's just crazy to me. But way back then, just never had any idea. It was, you're going to speak to thousands and you're going to bring glory to my kingdom. Why would I speak to thousands? Like, I am like Moses. I stumble over my words. I stutter, like, wrong girl, Lord. But little did I know, like, okay, I don't have to stand on a stage to speak and like bring God glory and share my testimony for his goodness. And so it started way back then, but I didn't know it yet. And so before my husband and I were even engaged, my Instagram account was very much, it was very like cute. And like, I was sharing my photography. I was a full-time photographer at the time for both myself, and I worked for a marketing agency, and we would do interior design or photos for interior designers. And I would work for different coffee shops around Sacramento. And like, so my feed was like really cute. It was pretty. I gained like 10,000 followers. Before I was even engaged. And so I think a lot from like locals back in Sacramento, California, because I used to share a lot of like local shops, coffee shop stores, and like food and like cute eating places. And then mixed in with like the typical like Pinterest, like Bible and coffee and like coffee shots. Like, I'd bring my Bible and my journal to the coffee shops, edit my photo shoots, and like I'd do the cute little like, I don't know, for whatever reason that got traction, that type of stuff way back. And so that's like where that started. And I would share my heart. And I also had a blog. I way back in the day, what was it called? There was a different blog. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it was all about like curated, like pretty, basically like Pinterest pictures mixed with like a vlog too. I cannot remember the name of it, but Tumblr. It was called,
yeah.
Tumblr.
Taking it back.
Wait. So like that's when I like started with this aspect of things. And I've always been very artsy, always been like creative, very into like acoustic, like singer-songwriter music. Like I don't know, I'm just that like 2010 hipster. Like that's
Nice.
what,
I love it. All the
and like I
memories.
used to always wear glasses too. So very much the vibe.
Yeah.
And so that's where it all started as far as like the social media aspect of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it grew, and we got married, and I shared about like biblical marriage and just like, you know, the honor of being a wife and like what that looks like as a believer, um and especially like as a young wife and as a young married couple. And like none of our friends were really getting married at the time yet. Like it was, people were just starting to date and no one was having kids yet. So when we found out we were pregnant, it was like, oh, the shock of like, anyway. So um it just evolved over time. And I actually don't even use my original account, which is really bittersweet to me.
Oh.
But yeah, it all started there. And just like as I started sharing motherhood, and I would share the highs and the lows, and I was very like vulnerable and sharing like my heart, and I would write what I felt like the Lord prompted me to write, to either be an encouragement to other moms or to say like, I don't know what else to say, but scripture says this, so I'm looking here. And so it's just evolved over time. In 2020, I rebranded to Our Kin and Home. And that's when I really started like just honing in on like the home aspect of things, not only sharing my kids and like our highlight reels, and just really focusing on like the culture of the home. In 2020, I feel like that turned, no, I don't feel like that turned everybody's life upside down.
Yeah.
And I really felt the call then to begin sharing like the importance of family culture, and just truly focusing on like these things that we've been talking about, and like the heart of the home, the heart of like relationships and connection and intention. And like, are we just bringing things into our home because it's trendy, or like, is it intentional? Like, how are we spending our time? Are we being intentional? Are we choosing to stare at our phones, or are we choosing to like connect with one another? And it's all encompassing. It's very big, because I also just love decorating, and I love warmth and coziness, and making a space like pretty and welcoming, and having the tools needed to say like, hey, come over, and I'll, you know, put something out. Like just being equipped, like no matter where you're at in your life, to say like, I'm not going to make you a 5-course meal, but come over and I can throw together some spaghetti and we'll chat. Like, what are you going through? Or, and just really, yeah. So that's obviously, it's now we're 2025. So it's been 5 years of, that being my focus. And then, yeah, now I am honing in even more on just like focusing on the whole health of mom, the whole health of the homemaker, spiritual, physical, the health of your relationship with your husband, with your children, your children's relationships. And I am not an expert. I'm not sharing because I'm an expert at any of it.
Right.
I'm sharing just because this is what the Lord has called me to share, and I share as He teaches me. So
that's powerful. And I think that's good. Like, I love what you said. Like, you're not an expert. I'm not an expert either. I don't think anybody's an expert. We're just, you know, available people, women, imperfect people that are just sharing what God is teaching us, you know? And it's like, as we do that, it's going to help somebody, you know, because somebody was like you when you first had your baby and was, you know, overwhelmed and panicked and didn't know what to do. I've been there before too. And so it's like, hey, you know, we've learned something. So now we're going to be generous and share that with other people. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. I love kind of what Charlotte talks about, how we learn mind to mind. You know, it's like there is no expert in anything except for the Holy Spirit, who's, you know, the ultimate teacher. But other than that, like, this is how we learn. Like, we get to learn, you know, mind to mind, mom to mom, home educator to home educator. And it's like, hey, like, I've learned this, let me share this with you. And so I think that's really powerful. what do you feel like you said that moving forward, your focus is going to be more on just mother health? Like, tell us a little bit more about that.
I think what I've learned is like there's just really high expectations for us to, especially because of social media. We're all kind of expected on ourselves. Like no one is putting this on us, but because of what we see visually on social media, it's like we're all expected to be like performing at 100% of the time. And so I kind of am realizing like, even when I look at my own feed, I'm like, I think I look like I have it all together. And I don't. Like, and I'm not going to go off and I'm not going to be like, oh, here's my dirty laundry. Like, I'm not going there, but I'm going to like lower the curtain a little bit and say like, you know, I'm human. I'm sharing these things, but I'm on a journey too. And I've got health issues going on. I'm learning that like, I've got, you know, my brain is wired differently, which makes normal things harder for me than others. And like, I know I'm not alone because my DMs, whenever I share like a snippet of something like that, you explained me to a T. And I'm like, okay, God, like, what do you want to do with this here?
Yeah.
Because if I'm not alone and I'm struggling, and I'm like, am I allowed to like say this? Am I going to get like, are my DMs going to be blasted if I like shed light on this a little bit? Or is this going to bring you glory and help others find freedom from bondage of these expectations that we've put on ourselves? And like, I don't want my Instagram account to be a burden. Like, I don't want mine to be a causation for someone else to feel inadequate either. And I know that's not on me. I know that like how I choose to, you know, share things on Instagram. Like I can't take responsibility for how others, you know, take it and perceive it. That's right. And I'm not saying that, but I also do want to be forward and say like, I am not perfect and I don't have it together. I simply share because this is what I want to encourage you with, because it's been an encouragement to me. And I know that if I'm craving and needing someone else to say you're not alone, I can guarantee that someone else is too.
Yeah, no, that's so good. I think that's like a great way to look at your platform and your gift, you know, and that doesn't just start on social media. Like, obviously I get to rub shoulders with you. So I know that you're doing this, you know, in real life with, you know, people closest to you. And I hope that that can be an encouragement for other people, like doing life with other people and sharing the things with people, whether it's through social media or even people in your small group or people in your church or in your homeschool community, like whatever, wherever you're rubbing shoulders with people, like feel free to have the freedom to share what, you know, God is doing in your life, the things that are going good and the things that are a challenge to you, because people need to hear, you know, what the journey that we're on, basically. So,
and I think, sorry,
no, go ahead.
I think it's just so easy to assume that because we see a percentage, we can just assume like the rest is healthy and the rest is going great. And the rest, the other percent that we don't see must be perfectly fine. When in reality, it's like, I know for me personally, sometimes I'm just kind of like, am I safe to share this here? Because it takes courage to be vulnerable.
Sure.
You know, you don't know like how people could respond in your vulnerability. And so I think it takes a leap of faith to say like, one, I'm struggling with this. Do you have any experience here that you could offer me wisdom? Or, hey, you mentioned this. I actually have experience with this and the Lord helped me through it in this way. Do you think that we could talk about this sometime? And I think also something that I've craved since moving to Oklahoma specifically, because we didn't know a soul when we moved here. We came here. There's no family here. We don't have people. And so part of why I like so craved and like I found this community is I was like, I need people that are ahead of me on this journey. I need people that can pour into me who have done this. They've homeschooled the Charlotte Mason way. They've graduated their students. They've been imperfect moms and yet their kids still want to be with them. Like I need to be around people who have done what I'm wanting to do so that I know it's possible. And I know how to live in the grace that God has given us. And I can see it firsthand. Like I see the fruit and and I think also like our culture is so used to everything being like social media and online. And I mean, even like the older generation, I think they don't even realize maybe that they're wanted. I think that on our part, those of us craving like the wisdom from like the Titus 2 women, we have to voice and say like, hey, can you pour into me? Like, I'm struggling. I need a mentor. I don't have my mommy here. Like, I don't have someone to pour into me here in my day-to-day life locally. Can you be that person for me? And maybe they can't, but maybe they can. And maybe they can say, you know what? My plate is so full right now, but I see what you're wanting. And I know someone who might be just perfect for you. And maybe that woman she's been craving someone to mentor, you know? And so I think taking that first step of vulnerability is so important. And like our book study means so much to me because it's like a variety of different moms and different stages in life. Like seasons. It's like it's needed. And I never miss that book study.
Yes, it's like it is penned in unless there is an emergency. I'm not missing it. It's so good. No, that's really thank you for sharing that. That's really powerful because I think that is sometimes a hindrance for people is just the feeling of am I safe? Can I share this and people aren't going to like think negatively of me or criticize me or judge me. And I think that that's so good. And that is sometimes a missing component of online because as we know, there's those people who will just type something and not even think, hey, there's a human on the other side of that remark. That comment. But it's like when we're face to face, like, you're probably going to be a lot less gutsy to say things. But I think that's good that you said that can remind us, like, when people do share, like, hey, let's have grace and understanding so that, people can feel safe and that they can get the help and the wisdom that is needed. Because we all need it. No one has arrived in it on their journey. And so that is so good. I love just what you shared. And I think it's good for all the moms who are listening who've maybe graduated your kids, like you're still needed. Maybe it looks different, where you're not schooling your kids, but I guarantee you there's some young moms like me and Mary. Well, you're probably younger than me. I'm getting some gray hairs over here, but we still need help. Like we still need help in raising our kids and knowing that we're not, missing the mark, but that we're on the right track. And so that only happens through experience. So I love that. So tell us, you have created some amazing resources to help moms. And we were chatting yesterday and I was like, you don't create something unless you have an experience through something. Like a lot of times creation comes through a need that you had in your own life. So tell us a little bit about what you've created and how you kind of came to create these resources.
Sure. I last year wrote a book called Making a Home. It started out, I was just going to make a little guide. Like I was thinking like 12-page guide. And it ended up a lot bigger than that, like almost 150 pages.
Ooh.
And well, anyways,
show us.
Yeah, it's okay. Sure. So we are working on reformatting it actually. So
beautiful.
This is, if you're seeing it now, this is what it is for now, but it might change this year. But in this book, my mom and I actually collaborated on some of it. She wrote the foreword of it, which is really powerful and really meaningful, that we got to work together on this because, even though I do things so differently than she did, her journey is still not over either. And she's still learning, and she's always just like been in my corner. Even when I chose to go such vastly different ways than she did, it was never like scornful. It was never, well, I'm better at the way you did things, so I'm doing it like this. It was always in grace and just, like, I don't think that works for me, and I'm going to do a different way, and that's okay. And she was, just always very supportive. And so we worked on this together, and it's really, really special. And it came out of a feeling of failure. The book wasn't written because I feel like I failed, but when I was a newlywed, and I share this in the book, I just really struggled. Like, I didn't know how to keep my home. I didn't know how to keep up with chores. I didn't know how to plan out, like, when to start cooking dinner to make sure that we can eat at not 9 p.m. And, like, I didn't know how to not have mountains of laundry, or keeping up on, like, the maintenance parts of home that, like, you don't have to do every week, but you have to do them sometimes. And I just, and then on top of that, I've always been drawn to beauty and just a lovely space. But sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and buy the latest and greatest at West Elm. Sometimes it's really more about, like, cultivating the heart of the home and, like, what really makes a home cozy and beautiful. It's not always the latest and greatest, like, most fashionable, most expensive items. Like, that's not what makes a warm, welcoming, cozy home. And so in this book, I basically have gone into everything that has helped me get to where I am and where I'm going to continue going, because it's a journey. And I, again, have not arrived. And life changes, because my last year baby is now a toddler who, like, goes and unravels the toilet paper every day and things like that.
Enriching this year too.
Not the same. But in the book, I discuss home atmosphere and, like, how to cultivate that and what it even is. About morning routines and habit formation, which is inspired from Charlotte Mason, for both mom or homemaker, and then also children, rhythms and routines, creating the routines, implementing rhythms. And then I also talk about blessing hour and what that is in our home and what that looks like. And then the home management things, decluttering, having meals around the table, meal planning, my story, my testimony with how things were very messy and how things are on my journey, and how I got to this place of, like, writing about table chores and house cleaning and home culture and, like, family culture and all of those things. So it's pretty great. I highly recommend.
Yay.
I even reread it when we moved into this house. I was like, I need some encouragement here.
Yeah.
So,
that sounds amazing. Wow. What an amazing, number one, amazing that you got to write that with your mom. I know that was super special. And then just, again, this comes from lessons that you've learned. It's not like, oh, I researched some things and put this book together. Like, this has been my life's journey so far, and how I started, at this point, and how I found a better and more peaceful way that's going to serve my family well. Okay. So if people want to get that, including me, where do we go to get this book?
arcaneandhome.com right now. Things, again, I'm trying not to give away too much, but yeah, things will be changing in the new year, but Arcane and Home will still take you to wherever you need to go. So Arcane and Home, and then you can just, like, go to the menu from there. And along with the book, Making a Home, I've also, the book includes printable, I'm trying to find some, like, printable pages, like habit trackers and things like that there's a folder you get online when you get the book, and you can just download and print right away. But then I also made editable templates, like, that include all of these, but then more, like, budget pages, homeschool rhythms, daily rhythms for kids, chores, charts, and all the things. And they're customizable, so you can edit them to be perfect for your own family's needs. And then last summer, I created the Mother's Planner out of a need to have everything in one place.
Yeah.
Because my brain is its own. And so I needed to consolidate and have, like, my homemaking tasks, my homeschool, my normal, just, like, these are the places that we're going, these are appointments, this is my meal planning, like, everything in one place. So I also created the Mother's Planner, which pairs really great with homemaker templates. You can combine them and make like a mega planner if you want, or just like, only use the pages that you want. So it's all completely customizable, editable. It's digital. And then in the downloads, I include exactly how to print it, to have it printed like this, or spiral, print it at home and just use a folder, or what erase markers, like did all those instructions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's like all the things that you're floating around in your brain, you can keep in one place.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's helpful. Because I do have like, I printed off like the kids' school schedule and like our agenda. And then in the back, I've got like my to-do list, like my time blocks. And then it's like, okay, grocery list. Like, so it is nice where it's like, can all be in one place. And so you're not searching for like, oh, where's that notebook? Because that will create a lot of unnecessary stress in our life.
I've done that where like I would grab like my old planner and then I would like leave something else, like my timetable or something, like, and I'm like, oh, I need it.
Yes. Now the days is gonna be interesting because I would have all things I need. So that is so great. Mary, thank you so much for coming on the Charlotte Mason Enrichment podcast and just sharing your life story and just all the wisdom and just the knowledge that you've gained on your journey. Y'all definitely need to go and follow Mary on Instagram, Arcane and Home. Definitely go check out her website. She's got some amazing resources. And this won't be the last time you guys hear from Mary with the Charlotte Mason Enrichment. So I just want to thank you guys for tuning in today. And if you are a new Charlotte Mason home educator, or you're curious about it and you don't know where to start, definitely go check out the Charlotte Mason for Beginners course. That was something that I created for when I was a new Charlotte Mason home educator. I definitely had a deer in the headlights, didn't know where to start. And so I've created something to help those of you who might be feeling the same way. So you can check that out, charlottemasonenrichment.com/course, and you can learn more about it. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. I love what Charlotte Mason says, that the only true education is self-education. So we're never going to stop learning and we're never going to stop growing. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Have a great one.